Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity. Right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Dan and Amy, this was a sort of an interesting makeshift focus group. I like this better than those CNN makeshift focus groups. This was done by Vice News. They invited a bunch of black men and women to their Brooklyn office. Some black conservatives, some black liberals, male, female. And hashed out a couple things. They hashed out the differences of opinions as it relates to both Trump and Obama. And the reason I liked it is because the moderator just sort of throws out a question and then he lets them hash it out. And the men and women, did so passionately but respectfully. So it was actually a pretty interesting conversation. On Trump and Obama, listen.
3 words or less, what is your reaction when you see a black person wearing a MAGA hat?
Well, there's a story.
Independent-minded brother.
Bold.
Confused. Cringe.
You do you.
Looks good on you. It can't fit on my head.
I saw true hate coming from the left, and it was white people calling me Uncle Tom. Pretty much, white people tell me I'm not black enough.
Aunts won't speak to me. Even now, I got aunts that don't talk to me because I want to be white.
The people that call me the nastiest, all kinds of house Uncle Tom, all this stuff.
I've been called a bed wench.
That's how racist the left still is.
For the black conservatives, how do you align with white conservatives when they speak mal of black people?
You call them out. My whole thing that's
not
for
even
me,
calling them out, but just how do you stand with them when they are speaking mal
how
against
do you stand with
people?
Hillary Clinton when she calls kids super predators?
You know what I'm
they're
saying?
gonna be racist
But there
everywhere
are
you go.
going to be some racists all over the place. So now it's like, okay, watch him out.
Believing in Trump's rhetoric, just morally, I don't understand. Especially a black person, because just him as a person, as an entity, is just super corrupt.
Who here voted for Barack Obama?
Just about everybody.
Twice.
Campaign for him in 08.
A semi-personal question. Did anyone vote for him just because he was black?
Not just, but that was a big reason I voted for him.
See, I'll admit, it's really funny because I'm a conservative, and I was so available to be used by all of the systems that made that person president. This person was born and raised in wealth and privilege his entire life. And the idea that this person was somehow more connected to me because we share the same skin color is crazy.
Yep.
But I bought it.
That's the one reason why I'm conservative now, because I'm willing to vote for somebody because of the way they look. And look what it did for me. Absolutely nothing.
Who is disappointed with the Barack Obama presidency?
I love that. Hearing from the conservatives who voted for Obama, really interesting. And then they go on to the moderator asks another question, react to the belief that being black is synonymous with being a Democrat. And listen to some of these reactions.
I want to hear what your reactions are to black voters being synonymous with the Democratic Party.
We've been on the receiving end of about 50 years of an onslaught of PR. It comes from our entertainers, it comes from our ball players, it comes from our singers, it comes from the Democratic politicians most of which are black and empty, but are being used to sell us this idea of the Democratic Party being the home of African Americans.
It's not as much groupthink as people assume it is, as much as it's harm reduction.
Who here believes that the black vote has been taken for granted?
Oh, yeah.
Who here believes that the black vote should be courted more?
Oh, then, yeah, of course.
Why do you not feel that
I don't
way?
trust when they start courting us. I'm always like, oh God, what do they want? What are they trying to do? And then we're gonna be left with nothing.
Is it taken for granted? Of course. Should it be courted? I guess. I mean, a person has to serve the majority. So no matter who you vote for, the majority of this country ain't me. Now, if you want to talk about micro level politics and councilmen and who's sitting on the student board, who's sitting as the mayor, now we could talk about that all day.
I strongly agree with him when he says that we don't talk enough about local politics.
So that's where I'm at. That's why I say courting black vote, you could do it.
Yeah, it's a lot of interesting points made there, and just sort of psychoses that you need to break through. Like when the woman said, if a conservative is courting me, I'm like, oh, what are they trying to do? Yeah. How are they trying to, basically stick it in my back? And so just really interesting. And then some of those conservative gentlemen had to say that you heard. For more on this topic and others, we're pleased to be joined again by our friends Diamond and Silk. They are hosts of The Viewer's View, Fox Nation, and stars of the documentary Dummycrats. Diamond and Silk, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Before we get started, we just want to say one thing to you.
What's that?
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, boy.
Happy birthday
It's better than
to
Marilyn
you.
Monroe did for Kennedy.
Happy birthday, dear Dan. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. All right, please,
Happy birthday, Dan.
please cut that. I want that for my personal collection. Diamond and Silk, thank you so much. That was lovely. And melodic. You ladies should cut an album.
You know what? You should do a Christmas album.
Yeah.
Because you can harmonize well.
No. I don't think Diamond Voice is going to be on a Christmas album. No.
Oh, wow.
Oh, a very Diamond and Silk Christmas.
She's going full Beyonce on Diamond there. Yeah. Forget the Destiny's Child crew. We're going Diamond and Silk. So why don't we start? I found that Vice Roundtable really interesting because it was pretty unvarnished, everybody's opinions, but it was respectful. And I liked what, let's start on the other side. What that woman said that I just referenced, like if a Republican or a white conservative tries to make an overture to me, I'm like, what are they trying to do? How are they trying to scam me? How are they trying to get one over on me? That's a real thing we need to get over.
Okay, it is. And it's a condition of the mindset because your mama, her mama told you to fear when somebody have a conservative point of view, or if it's a conservative that's white, you need to fear them. You need to question their motives. You need to act as if they have motives. That is all conditioned behavior. But I want people to even drop conservative and liberalism and just drop all of it. Drop Democrat, drop Republican for a moment. Who is doing the job? Who is making your life better? And that's who you should vote for.
That's right.
Let's drop the titles and let's start looking at the person.
Yeah, because one thing about the Democrats that I found is that they want to character assassinate an individual. That's what they do. The first thing they do is bring out a sex scandal, say that this person is a racist, that person is a homophobe. They make up all of these words that have a particular meaning, but they take and conflate the two. And whenever they do that and you look at the individual, you don't see the individual for the person that they truly are. You see the individual for what someone told you that they were. You never got to really know that person. So when a person come up and say, well, Donald Trump is a racist, well, when we ask, well, how is he a racist? They can't tell us anything.
Right, they don't know.
You two ladies are
are
former Democrats, and what was your aha moment?
Whenever he went down the escalators and said he wanted to secure the border,
right.
I want to bring back jobs, it made sense. Wait a minute. We've been sitting around here complaining. We want equality. We want to be able to obtain the American dream. We want economic opportunity. You got some man that will say it boldly and proudly.
That's right.
And we can have that. Who happens to be a businessman who took $1 million and turned it into billions. Oh, this is your man right here.
That's right. He also had solutions for problems and for issues that was plaguing the community. It's like, okay, the jobs are gone, and you see people standing on the street selling drugs. Nobody have a job. But President Trump came along, and he basically had the solutions to them. You have illegal aliens coming over here, bringing down the wages, taking your jobs. It's affecting the black community. It made sense. But you had all of these politicians that's been in these different offices for all of these years, and nobody had the solution to solve the issues that's been plaguing the community.
It was going to be the same old with Hillary Clinton.
Right.
And we knew that from day one. We knew it. It was going to be the same old thing, all talk and no action, and
that's
somebody
right.
go missing in action.
That's right.
We knew with Donald Trump, President Trump, he was going to change the game, and now look. And so I have to commend Vice. You know, I don't really look at their platform or anything because they can be nasty.
They are
biased too.
Yep.
But I have to commend them for even having the conversation.
Yes.
And Democrats, black people need to understand, whenever a conservative, whether they're black and white, come talk to you about policies, about what's happening in our country, you don't need to become suspicious of that. Just take it, just pay attention, just listen. Eat what you want on the plate or leave the rest on the plate. Eat what you can, leave the rest on the plate. But this thing, and see, that's what also the left has done.
Yes.
The left always try to paint conservatism, Republicans as something either racist, something bad, and now if you pull up your internet and there's AOL, now they're talking white nationalists. All of these key buzzwords to make people afraid, to make people question.
That's right.
And it's so sad and it's sick.
And what about whenever a Democrat come up to you talking all of these different narratives and these different tactics and using these different trigger words to you? Do you feel suspicious then? And you should feel suspicious because, especially as a black person, you've been voting for the same system that's been keeping you stuck, looking really messed up anyway.
That's right. That's right.
One of the other things, and it came out during that discussion, it wasn't in the clips we played, but the issue of reparations. And there was a disagreement between a guy who believes, reparations are required to right past wrongs, and this woman who had run-in with the law earlier in her life, and now she's got a financial consulting business, and she was a Trump voter, and she basically sort of started railing against welfare. And the other guy, who was a conservative, he was the guy who voted for Obama, and then said, I was totally available to the system that made me vote for or drove me to vote for Obama because he looked like me rather than is this somebody who's aligned with me intellectually and policy position-wise. But he said, what is this idea, defending welfare, talking about reparations, what is this idea that every black person is broke? He's sort of like, he's like offended by the idea like every black person like lives in the ghetto and is broke. Part of that, and I think both parties buy into that, this idea of, when you're talking about welfare, you're mainly talking about black people. Well, of course, it's disproportionately, but just in terms of raw numbers, many more white people are on welfare than black people. So it's not necessarily race based, but this idea. It's about the poor black man or woman, poor black child, and that's the entire discussion of addressing the aspirations and concerns of the black community. And the woman, the business owner didn't like it, and neither did the guy who voted for Obama before he became a conservative. They're really rejecting this caricature, but the others weren't. And I wonder if this is a bit of a divide, too, or a bit of an opportunity to say we're not on the center right. We're not going to start from this caricature of every black person as in one socioeconomic cohort.
Okay, but it wouldn't be presented like that if black people wouldn't act as if everybody was broke. Everybody don't have the same economic opportunity and same equality. You see what I'm saying? So that's where that comes
It's
from.
like a myth. You've been taught to be like it's a victimhood, like you are a victim.
Right, absolutely. Because we see, it's what we call a stereotype. It's just like, let me just say this here. Kamala Harris. Well, when people get out of jail, if you sold drugs, you need to go back into selling drugs again, but you can just do it the legal way. Well, I was offended by that because, first of all, black people, when they sold drugs, that's what decimated the communities because those black men, those were the same black men she had locked up that couldn't raise their children, that could not raise their families. So I was offended by her stereotyping that our men, the only thing they can be is a drug dealer. So now that weed is legal in some of these states, you can go back to selling it.
And let's say that she was insinuating that, because she was saying basically that, a lot of men have been locked up for selling weed. Well, because it's legal, they should be the first one to get the job in order to sell weed.
Right. So that's all our especially our black men. That's all they good for. Our men are good for is selling drugs, being gangbangers, being thugs. See, and we also have to watch it. When you look at even on television, when you look at the reality shows, when you look at regular shows, how our men are portrayed, especially our black men, and all of that plays into what comes out when people are talking about when it comes to politics. President Trump asked the community, what do you have to lose?
That's right.
Because he got tired of people out there marching in the street about equality. Well, I'm going to give you some equality. I'm going to give you some good jobs. I'm going to make sure you have economic opportunity. I'm going to roll back this regulation where if you want to start a business, you can start a business. If you want to own a home, you can own a home. It is the black man that stays stuck in the myth of, we don't have it.
We can't
do
this.
it. We can't do that. Okay, take Diamond and Silk, for example. Diamond and Silk, we created that Trump train back in 2015. We got off of what we call the Democrat plantation, which is not a state but a mine mindset.
A mindset,
okay?
a state of mind. Right.
Okay? All right, that's what we did. Well, anytime it looks like we making some money or we're doing something where we're coming up, we have black people upset about it.
Right.
And if we're supposed to stay in poverty, no. We were born on American soil. We're not an illegal alien. We didn't come up over here on no ship. We was born on this soil, and we are Americans. We deserve
right.
the American dream just like everybody else. So that stereotype that, listen, black people, I'm sorry, did to themselves, and it all stems back even from the churches when they tell you can't have nothing.
Right.
I mean, it's just a conditioned mindset.
Right.
And you're stuck in that, which we do need to move forward from that.
So one thing that President Trump has done is showed everybody that you no longer have to be a victim. You can be victorious. You can be prosperous. You can have prosperity. You don't have to live in a state of poverty. Mm-hmm. And people have to understand this Democrat plantation. It is not a city. It's not a place. It's not a thing, but it is a state of mind.
Right.
It's your mindset.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And no, not all black people are in poverty.
No, not
You got
all.
black people that are influential, black people that have. But you also have a large sum of black people that's still, just like with the race baiting. Look at Biden, the commercial that he put out, all played into race. He wasn't a racial healer. He was a race baiting. He was race baiting. Look at what they do. They do little keywords, key things to try to get you stuck in one type of mindset. And that's what you go with. So we do need to break away from that. No, not all black people are broke and poor. You have some black people that are coming up, especially more now up under President Donald J. Trump. So maybe we need to stop playing into stereotypes and start playing into the fact that we are Americans. Drop the race.
And drop the skin color.
That's right.
Drop
we
the skin
are Americans,
color.
and we deserve the American dream.
Look past the skin color. Stop looking at your skin color and let that identify you. No. Look past the skin color and remember that you are an American. Look at yourself as an American and recognize yourself as an American first, and then you can be part of the American dream. But staying stuck in a box, this blue or black box with everybody else, it's going to keep you stuck right there looking really messed up. People got to understand that.
All right, Diamond and Silk. Donald Trump supporters, host of The Viewer's View on Fox Nation and stars of the documentary Democrats, Diamond and Silk. Thanks as always for joining us. Always provocative. And thanks for singing happy birthday to me again.
Oh, you're so welcome and happy birthday.
Nobody ever does
you.
it anymore.
Oh.
Thank you, Diamond.
We love you too. What a special birthday celebration for Dan. And they joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy.